was it like a neighboring like country, with, like map wise, or, where you're like, oh, I need an empire
Yeah.
and you created it? Like, I'm just curious about that process.
Yeah, I actually this is going to get into a little bit of the world building of the story,
Perfect.
which some people love, some people are like, yeah, we can fast forward a little bit. So if you're like
I love
world
world
building,
building.
welcome. Awesome, perfect. So the concept of the whole thing was I wanted two major empires of the world to be in conflict. So there's two great nations which are each just an amalgamation of like smaller countries that have banded together. And the city that the story takes place in is part of neither of them until it is sold out by its leaders to one of the nations. So now we have this conflict of you are now a territory of this empire because your leaders have kind of like sold you out. And there is this interesting blend of you have gained a lot of benefits from being part of this empire: technology, logistics, supplies, a lot of stability. But you've also given up a lot of things: culture, rights, individuality, the ability to manifest your own destiny without having to check with the big old great empire of, am I allowed to do this? And so we have these two empires. They're in conflict. They used to be at war, and now they're in a cold war of like everybody knows it's going to happen again at some point. Everyone's just ramping up. And that's all just backstory. That's all just the setting to everything that is going on within this city to flavor the journey of these three individuals and how they are all pulled into really rebelling and revolting against the leaders who sold them out to a completely different nation.
That's so interesting. I teach history, so for me, that's like the kids are always asking, like, how do
Oh,
you
nice.
use, yeah, like how do you use your subject area? And it was so cool because I went to Michigan State, and like that, like even if you are like a teacher, they don't separate you in terms of like history. So like you're trained as a classic like historian. So
Nice.
I never realized like what that meant, right? Until like really like analyzing it from a writing standpoint. So I don't know. I think you got like a lot of really cool things there because like we talk a lot about the Ottoman Empire, right? Previous empires, like people would fight, right, for independence. But the Ottomans, like one of those interesting ones where like they offered so many benefits that, like you were saying, that like a lot of people are like, it's fine, if as long as I get to keep my religion. The taxes are down compared to the other Muslim empires, like caliphates. Like, I don't really care, and that wasn't everybody, right? But a greater majority decided that there were way more benefits, right? Particularly for trade and resources. So I think that that's just a really good use of enduring issues and interesting historical context in a fantasy setting. So to me, that's like super cool. And yeah, it's just really neat. I do have to ask though, and feel free to say that if this is spoilerish or not,
Yeah.
because I like to avoid them, particularly for book ones for people. But I'm curious, like, so you talk about the benefits. Do you mind telling us a little bit about maybe some of the benefits? Like, is it greater access to magic or like a resource like the spheres and Way of Kings? Like, what are some of like the benefits that maybe they reaped from, like selling them out to this empire?
Yeah, it is 100% mostly technology. So this
Awesome.
empire that they have really been indoctrinated into or taken into as a territory is the only source of this crystal that I call Cirrusite. And Cirrusite is used to power what is essentially like a magical technology. And through Cirrusite, you can produce different kinds of energy and you can also convert different kinds of energy. The setting of the world is vaguely based off like early 1700s. So we have things like gas lamps and stuff like that for people who are not within this technology. But within this empire, it's the only place you can find this resource to power this magical tech. And because they are now a territory of it, they have things like these lamps that are powered by it. There are ships that are powered by it. There are, excuse me, they can like reinforce glass with it. There's all kinds of different technological advances that you can make because you can produce and convert energy types from one to another. It acts almost as like a production of heat, light, electricity, all within the settings of like an early 1700s mountainous island city. And over the past like decade, the Empire has been rolling out a lot of these technologies over there because you are a territory. That is the deal. You do what we say, and we provide you with these things. So it is like a mixed bag of like, is this all bad? Is this all good? And these are the struggles that they're really trying to deal with. You get this a lot, especially through Jellert's character, who is a magical engineer from the Empire who comes to the city. And then you also get it from Amara, from the political landscape of she is from the city, who is being kind of oppressed, but also kind of benefited from this nation.